A viewer has shared his painful story from Eritrean capital Asmara. He wanted it to be told on My Views and News for those, perhaps for those who don't know what is happening inside Eritrea. Welcome to My Views and News. Thanks for watching the channel. There's two main news stories in this video. Firstly, what is happening in Asmara, Eritrean capital. Secondly, Sudanese government has cut off all ties with the United Arab Emirates. Starting from today, embassies closed, ambassadors withdrawn. What happened? Let's start with this story. First, we know that Sudanese government, led by General Al Burhan, accuses UAE, United Arab Emirates, of supporting rapid support forces. And everyone knows that RSF are being armed, sponsored, funded by the UAE. A few weeks ago, Sudanese government filed a case against the UAE at an international court, but the case was not entertained by the court. The court, on the basis of jurisdiction dispute, refused to entertain the case filed by the Sudanese government. And within the last 3 days, we have been seeing a change of tactics by the rapid support forces. I've been updating you about drone strikes being conducted by the rapid support forces. RSF don't have any fighter jets and bombers, but UAE has provided very modern combat drones to the RSF fighters. And sitting hundreds of kilometers away from the targets, these RSF drones are hitting targets very precisely on the ground. They hit Sala airport close to Eritrean border, then Port Sudan airport was hit. Yesterday, on Monday, 2 hotels were hit in Port Sudan. Military site was hit in Port Sudan. Marina Hotel, Coral Hotel were hit in Port Sudan. Airport was targeted to. A fuel storage site was also hit. Drone strikes continue today as well. Al Burhan's government has been using Port Sudan as its capital because Khartoum was partly under RSF control in the last 2 years. Recently, RSF had to withdraw from Khartoum, but the state machinery could not be shifted to Khartoum. It's still based in Port Sudan. And RSF fighters have managed to make Port Sudan a war zone. That is why Sudanese military, Sudanese government of Al Burhan, General Al Burhan, not happy with the UAE. And today, Sudan withdrew its ambassador from UAE. Sudan expelled UAE's ambassador. Sudan closed UAE's embassy in Sudan. It announced to cut off all ties with the UAE's government. Sudan accuses Kenya too, that Kenya is actively backing RSF, that RSF, which is establishing a parallel government in Western Sudan, is backed by Kenya. RSF are a force to be reckoned with. I don't think that now any of the two parties, neither of the two parties can gain decisive advantage. Sudanese war has reached a stalemate where some compromise is needed. Otherwise, this conflict will go on. But the use of drones was introduced by RSF after they suffered losses on the ground. The ground forces had to retreat, then they resorted to drone strikes. That just shows that this war is set to go on. Now, your main story from Eritrean capital Asmara. A viewer shared his story from the capital. Uh, the viewer says that he has been living with his parents since his childhood. He is married now, uh, and his wife, uh, who he married, uh, he cannot stay with her. Why? So his wife is living in her parents' house, and the husband is living in his parents' house. Both want to live together, but they cannot. They have a few children as well. What is the reason? He said that for the last 15 years, no housing construction has been allowed in Asmara, Eritrean capital. Around 2010, 14 years ago, Eritrean government banned all construction. So since then, no new construction permits have been issued. Government suspended construction activities back then. Some construction units remained incomplete. Later, they were completed, but no new construction projects were launched by the government. Private construction projects are not allowed in Asma. There have been other parts of Eritrea too. Land is owned by the government. So they have been requesting the government to allow them to build a house, to allot them land for building the house, but it's not allowed. And he said that he's not the only one. There are hundreds of couples facing the same problem. Why did Eritrea ban construction? Eritrea banned construction, it says, to counter uh, sanctions. He didn't want to import construction material from abroad, cement, steel, etc. That is why it banned construction activities. But UN sanctions were lifted in 2018. So ban is still in place. And the ban was imposed reportedly before sanctions were imposed on Eritrea. What is the reason? The reason is that the state wants to control the land. It wants to control the people. It does not want any private entrepreneurship in Eritrea. I know there were rich Eritreans abroad. They're ready to invest in Eritrea. They can build hundreds of housing units within a few months if they're allowed to invest in Eritrea, but they're not allowed. Uh, Diaspora is not allowed. Eritrean diaspora community not allowed to invest in Eritrea. He said, Sajid, compare the pictures of Asmara of today and of 2010. You would see no difference. Skyline, same. A few projects which started before 2018 have been completed. Otherwise, no new housing units have been constructed. It's painful for him that he cannot live with his family, with his wife. The two cannot raise a family together. That is why people are fleeing, because their basic rights are being denied in Eritrea. Right to housing, right to build a house. How can you deny that? But this is being denied in Eritrea. Those who criticize me for raising such issues, they should enlighten me. What is the reason? Why is that common Eritreans are not being allowed to build houses in Asmara? There's no shortage of land. Why is that diaspora, Eritrean diaspora community members they're not being allowed to invest in Eritrea? Reason is simple. The Eritrean government wants to control everything with an iron grip. It does not want to give liberty to the people. It does not believe in empowering the people. That is why whenever Eritreans get a chance to flee the country and they see some hope abroad, they flee the country. Though their illegal migration from Eritrea is very risky. They die on their way, but they take this risk because they know that at home they have no freedom, no future. Their money being controlled by the government, their lives being controlled by the government, education being controlled by the government, national service being controlled by the government, indefinite. That is why the youths who can, they try to flee the country. Thank you for watching.